Every second of the day, something is calling for your attention. A text, a news headline, an ad, a notification, another urgent thing pretending to be important. We live in a world of constant noise, not just the sound of traffic or talking, but the noise of 1,000 things trying to invade your mind. And the cost of that noise: clarity, focus, peace. We tell ourselves we're busy, that we're staying connected, that this is just how life works now, but deep down, we feel it. That low hum of exhaustion, that creeping anxiety, that sense that no matter how much we do, we're falling behind something we can't name. The Stoics warned us about this centuries ago. Even in ancient Rome, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." But how many of us even remember what that feels like? We wake up and check the world before we check in with ourselves. We respond to everything before deciding what deserves our response. And slowly, without realizing it, we lose control of the one thing the Stoics held sacred: our attention. The world is louder than it's ever been. More data, more options, more opinions. And yet, we're more distracted, more anxious, more disconnected from our own thoughts. Why? Because the human brain wasn't built to take in everything. It was built to focus, to notice, to act with intention. But when you're being pulled in 100 directions, you become a slave to reaction. You lose the ability to hear your own inner voice. So what's the way out? How do we quiet the noise when the world refuses to be quiet? You don't need to run away from technology. You don't need to move to a cabin in the woods. What you need is to reclaim your inner stillness. To train your mind like the Stoics did, not to escape reality, but to stand firm within it. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." And here's the truth: the noise will always be there. The headlines will keep coming. The opinions will never stop. But you decide what enters your mind. You decide where your attention goes. You decide what deserves your energy. That is the power of presence. Start simple. Turn off non-essential notifications. Schedule time each day to unplug. Create intentional silence. Reflect before you react. Ask yourself, is this noise or is this truth? These aren't just habits. They're weapons in the fight for your attention. They're the first steps back to a focused, meaningful life. The Stoics believe that peace isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you create by choosing what you allow in. And the more you silence the world around you, the more clearly you can hear your own wisdom rising. Life will always be chaotic. But chaos doesn't have to live in your head. You can live in the middle of a noisy world and still be calm, still be rooted, still be unshakable. Because peace isn't the absence of sound. It's the presence of discipline. Imagine waking up and choosing your focus, instead of letting the world choose it for you. Imagine a mind that's not constantly spinning, but grounded. A mind that doesn't chase, but creates. A mind that doesn't react, but responds with wisdom. That's the mind the Stoics trained for. That's the mind you can build, one moment at a time. So ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence, just to listen to your own thoughts? When was the last time you paused? Not because you had to, but because you chose to. In a world that demands your attention every minute of the day, your stillness is your rebellion. Your clarity is your freedom, and your focus is your superpower. We live in a world where silence is rare. It's become a luxury. Everywhere you go, there's noise. Your phone, your inbox, your TV, your to-do list, the news, the notifications, the opinions, the expectations. But here's the paradox. The louder the world becomes, the more powerful silence grows. Most people think of silence as emptiness, a void. But real silence is anything but empty. It's where clarity is born. It's where truth emerges. It's where the voice that actually matters, your own, finally gets a chance to speak. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's the wisdom of Stoicism, learning that you don't need to run away from the world to find peace. You just need to return to yourself. And silence is how you begin. Silence is a tool, not a pause in life, but a powerful practice. When you step into silence, you step out of reaction and into intention. You stop being pulled in 1,000 directions, and you begin to realign with what actually matters. You see, silence does something remarkable. It reveals the noise. It shows you how often your mind is chasing distraction. It shows you how much energy is wasted reacting to things that don't serve your peace. And it gives you the strength to choose differently. The Stoics didn't fear silence. They used it, like armor. Seneca believed that stillness wasn't a withdrawal from life. It was preparation. Silence sharpens thought. It makes us better listeners. It makes our words stronger because they no longer come from impulse, but from intention. Ask yourself, when was the last time you sat in silence, not to avoid something, but to return to yourself? We often chase peace in all the wrong places. We think we'll find it in achievement, in control, in other people's approval. But peace isn't found through noise. Peace begins in the stillness of your own mind. And you don't need an app, a retreat, or a new philosophy. You just need to get quiet long enough to hear yourself think. Let silence become your sanctuary, a space you return to, not because life is calm, but because you choose to be calm within it. Use it as active meditation, a practice of listening without responding, feeling without reacting, observing without judgment. This is where self-mastery begins, not by controlling the world around you, but by learning to be still inside, even when the world isn't. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It means strength under control. It means knowing when to speak and when to hold space. It means resisting the need to always respond, defend, or prove. The Stoics taught that our power doesn't lie in what happens, but in how we respond. And sometimes the strongest response is no response at all. You don't have to participate in every argument. You don't have to chase every alert. You don't have to answer every demand. You are allowed to be still. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to step into silence and come back wiser. Because silence doesn't take you out of the world. It returns you to the part of yourself the world forgot. So next time you feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, or pulled in too many directions, don't seek more. Seek less. Close your eyes, turn off the noise, and enter the space where no one else speaks, but everything becomes clear. That space is silence. And within it, you'll rediscover your greatest strength. Presence. Silence. It sounds simple, doesn't it? And yet, in a world that moves faster every day, in a world that never stops talking, true silence feels almost radical. But here's what most people don't realize. Silence isn't passive. It's powerful. It's not the absence of sound. It's the presence of something deeper. awareness, reflection, peace. And today, I want to show you how to use silence intentionally as a tool to reset your mind, regain clarity, and live with more focus. Let's start with this. When was the last time you were truly silent? Not just quiet, not just not talking, but truly disconnected from screens, notifications, opinions, distractions. It's rare, but it's essential. Because when you don't create space for silence, the world will fill every inch of your mind with noise that isn't yours. And slowly, without realizing it, you lose your ability to hear the most important voice of all, your own. So how do we take silence from a concept to a practice? It starts with one decision. Set aside time for intentional silence. That means making space, not just when life slows down, but because it doesn't. This isn't about escaping. It's about recentering. Start small. 5 minutes in the morning before the world wakes up. 10 minutes in the evening before bed. A walk in nature with your phone on airplane mode. No music. No talking. Just awareness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "People seek retreats for themselves, in the country, by the sea, in the mountains. But nowhere can a person find a retreat more peaceful than in their own soul." You don't need to go far to find peace. You just need to go inward. The second technique is simple, but life-changing. Practice mindfulness in the silence. When you sit in silence, don't fill it with thoughts about what you should be doing. Let it become a space where you simply observe. Notice your breathing. Notice the tension in your shoulders. Notice the thoughts that come, and instead of chasing them, just let them pass. You're not trying to stop thinking. You're learning to watch your mind without judgment. This is the core of Stoic self-discipline, awareness without reaction. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And silence is how you begin to master yourself. See, silence teaches you to pause before you speak, to listen before you respond, to observe before you act. It breaks the habit of reacting and replaces it with reflection. And over time, that habit rewires your thinking. You don't just become calmer, you become wiser. And here's the third practice, the one that turns silence into a compass. Use silence to reflect on your goals and values. Because when life gets loud, we forget why we're doing what we're doing. We chase success, but forget the definition. We stay busy, but don't ask if it's meaningful. Silence gives you space to ask questions like, am I living in alignment with what I value? What decisions have I been avoiding? And what really matters to me right now? You'd be surprised what your own mind will tell you if you give it space to speak. And here's something powerful. The more time you spend in silence, the less you fear it. You stop needing noise to feel alive. You stop needing approval to feel worthy. You stop needing constant motion to feel progress. Because you realize peace isn't something out there. It's something you build inside. The Stoics didn't find peace through luxury or comfort. They found it through clarity. And clarity comes when you give yourself space to breathe between the noise. So let me leave you with this. Don't wait for silence to happen. Make it happen. Schedule it like a meeting. Honor it like a ritual. Protect it like it's sacred, because it is. And then use it to reconnect to your thoughts, to your values, to the version of yourself that doesn't need noise to feel whole. Silence is not the absence of life. It's the doorway to deeper life. So start small, start now, one breath, one pause, one moment of stillness. That becomes your foundation. and watch how everything begins to shift. We live in a world that glorifies noise. Talk louder, move faster. Be seen, be heard, be everywhere. But what if I told you that your greatest power doesn't lie in what you say, but in what you choose not to say? What if silence, yes, silence, was the key to clarity, strength, and true peace of mind? Today, we're diving deep into the quiet heart of Stoicism and why practicing Stoic silence may be the one thing that changes everything. The ancient Stoics understood something most people today overlook. Silence isn't emptiness, it's focus. It's the mental space that allows you to see clearly, without being swept away by impulse, noise, or distraction. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." But how do you even know what you're thinking if your mind is never quiet? Let's talk about focus. In silence, your attention sharpens. You're no longer reacting to every ping, buzz, or opinion. You're choosing where to aim your mind. That's power. In today's distracted world, silence becomes a filter. It allows the signal to rise above the noise. Want to improve concentration? Want to get more done in less time? Cut the noise, sit in silence, watch your mind come alive. But silence doesn't just help you focus. It also boosts something else we desperately need: creativity. When the mind is silent, it's not empty. It's free. Free to explore, free to connect dots, free to imagine something that didn't exist 5 minutes ago. Many of history's greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders credited their breakthroughs not to noise, but to stillness. Because creativity doesn't bloom in chaos, it blooms in space. When you stop chasing input, your brain starts creating output. And then there's something even deeper than focus or creativity, something we all crave but struggle to hold on to: inner peace. In silence, anxiety softens, your nervous system calms, your breath slows. And suddenly, the things that felt overwhelming begin to feel manageable. You stop catastrophizing. You start thinking with clarity. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And silence helps you catch those imagined fears before they spiral. Stoic silence isn't about running from life. It's about creating the space to respond, not just react. Let's be honest. How many times have we said something we regret just because we didn't pause? How many decisions have we made out of fear, noise, or urgency? The Stoics believed in creating mental distance between stimulus and response. Silence is that distance. It's the pause that saves your peace. It's the space that protects your integrity. In silence, you don't lose your voice. You strengthen it. Because when you're not speaking from emotion, you speak from principle. And that's when your words carry weight. Remember, the loudest person isn't always the strongest. Often, the strongest person is the one who knows when to say nothing at all. So how do you practice Stoic silence in your daily life? Here are a few simple, powerful techniques. Morning silence. Start your day without noise. No phone, no headlines. Just breath, thought, and awareness. Set the tone before the world sets it for you. Deliberate pauses. Before responding to a challenge, a question, or a conflict, pause. Let silence guide your response. Silent reflection. End each day in quiet. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where did I lose control? What can I improve tomorrow? These practices aren't complicated, but they are life-changing. Because silence isn't just something you do. It becomes a way of being. A way of walking through life with presence, calm, and purpose. In a world addicted to volume, your silence becomes your strength. While others chase attention, you build intention. While others react, you respond. While others drown in noise, you rise in clarity. That is the gift of Stoic silence. And it's available to anyone who chooses to embrace it. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, distracted, or uncertain, don't speak louder. Don't do more. Get quiet. Get still, and remember who you are underneath all the noise. There's a moment in every life, a moment when the noise becomes too much, when the to-do list, the opinions, the pressure, the distractions, they stop motivating you and start drowning you. It's in that moment that something strange begins to call you. Not more activity, not more advice, but something you may have forgotten even exists: silence. In a world obsessed with speed and sound, silence can feel like rebellion. But not all revolutions are loud. Some are quiet. Some are still. And some change everything. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. The Stoics understood silence not as absence, but as access. Access to clarity, to strength, to the part of yourself that isn't reacting to the world, but responding with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are disturbed by external things, it is not they that trouble you, but your own judgment of them, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." And where do you gain the power to wipe out that judgment? In silence. Let's be honest. Most of us are living on autopilot. We rush through the day, chase approval, react to every beep and buzz, and wonder why we feel so lost. But silence gives you something precious: perspective. It's the moment when you stop running and start asking, what actually matters right now? Am I living by design or by default? What have I been avoiding that I actually need to face? In that space of stillness, you begin to remember who you are. Not what the world says you are, but you, the one beneath the noise. We often think transformation requires massive change. A new job, a big leap, a dramatic reset. But sometimes, the most powerful transformation begins by simply pausing, by stepping away from the noise and stepping into your own awareness. Because in that silence, you don't just calm your mind. You see what needs to change. And more importantly, you find the courage to change it. Here's what silence gives you that nothing else does: resilience. When you sit with your thoughts, your fears, your doubts, your past, you realize something profound. They don't control you. You learn to face discomfort without flinching, to feel sadness without collapsing, to process anger without destruction. This is the kind of strength no one can see from the outside, but you feel it in your bones. It's the kind of strength Stoicism cultivates, power that doesn't come from control, but from clarity under pressure. Silence isn't weakness. It's choosing not to react from ego. It's choosing not to fight for the last word. It's learning to endure the discomfort of being misunderstood, because peace matters more than proving a point. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And sometimes, bravery isn't speaking up. Sometimes, it's choosing to not say anything at all. Silence also helps you prioritize. We live in a world full of choices, but not all of them are yours to carry. The Stoic path is about stripping away the unnecessary, returning to what truly matters. When you sit in silence, you start to see that not every opportunity is worth chasing, that not every invitation is aligned with your mission, that not every voice deserves a response, and suddenly, your life stops being driven by chaos and starts being led by intention. So how do you start? How do you use silence to transform your life? Here are 3 simple Stoic practices. The morning quiet, 5 to 10 minutes. No phone, no tasks. Just sit, breathe, listen. Start your day anchored. The midday reset. Take a short walk. No earbuds. Let your mind clear. Let your breath guide your thoughts. Evening reflection. Ask yourself, what did I do today that aligned with my values? What drained me that I can let go of tomorrow? You don't need more noise to be more powerful. You don't need more answers to feel more certain, and you don't need the world's approval to feel worthy. You just need to return to the stillness that's already within you. Because that stillness isn't empty. It's not silence for the sake of silence. It's where the transformation happens, where strength is restored, where the next version of you is forged. So if you feel like your life is noisy, chaotic, unclear, don't run away from it. Step into the quiet. Let go of what doesn't serve you, and listen. Because in that sacred space of silence, you won't just find peace, you'll find your power. If this video spoke to something inside you, hit that like button. It helps more people find their moment of stillness. Subscribe for weekly, Stoic content that reconnects you with what matters. Comment below. What's one part of your life you'd like to transform through silence? Let's grow together. Tap the bell, so every video becomes a moment of calm in your week. Don't just survive the noise. Learn to master the silence. And in doing so, transform your life from the inside out.